Hey everybody, Bob Paskins here. Let's get ready for another 2-minute motivational drill. This week we were talking about the power of the trade-off, or the power for exchanging one thing for another. Now the fact is, we do this all of the time. Sure, we go to the grocery store, we'll exchange money for food. Or maybe we're going to work out in the evening, which means we're going to have sore muscles the next day, but it'll help us feel good. Or perhaps, instead of going to bed at a normal time, we're going to binge watch our favorite Netflix series for hours and hours and hours, getting the entertainment, but trading off sleep in the process. Now, this series follows something that John Maxwell has put together, which is the power of the trade-off when it comes to our businesses as well as our personal life. And with that, there's a phrase that's been used, and I'm going to use the phrase and I'm going to tweak it a little bit. But the phrase basically says is, wherever a person puts their money, their heart follows along. Now, I'm going to phrase that a little bit different, is wherever a person puts their time, their heart follows along. Now, I'm actually going to divulge something which I haven't. It's probably the most personal thing that I will divulge on all of my 2-minute motivational drill series. It's something that maybe I'm a little embarrassed to admit, but it really fits in the illustration. So here goes. I, Bob Paskins, am a closet The Bachelor watching fan. Now, I know that is hard for me to admit, but I've actually followed that show since day one when The Bachelor was in San Francisco, and we were in San Francisco at that time. And for 15 years, that show has just got its hooks into me. But not only The Bachelor, because they expanded it. Because The Bachelor used to just be one series a year, Mondays for 1 hour. But then they decided, hey, this is such a good thing, we have to expand it. So now they're doing 2 series or maybe 3 series a year. Then from that, they decided instead of 1 hour on Monday night, they're going to do 2 hours on Monday night. From there, they said, one day isn't good enough. We're going to do it Monday and Tuesday for 2 hours a night. And then they realized, man, we've really struck gold. We have The Bachelor, so why don't we add The Bachelorette? Now, why don't we add something called The Bachelor Pad? And then finally, let's add Bachelors in Paradise. And sure enough, I came along with them step by step. So in doing this and preparing for this, I started to calculate exactly how much time have I spent watching that show. Watching the most dramatic season in Bachelor history. Watching, will he or will he not propose? And sure enough, when I did the calculation, it came to roughly 980 hours that I had watched that show. Now, 980 hours, sadly, turns itself into over 40 days. Now, my wife, always on my side, was rationalizing, basically saying, you know we have TiVo, right? Or we have On Demand, right? So we're able to go through the commercials. But even if you think we go through the commercials, that's still probably around 30 days or 1 month of my life that I have spent watching that show. Now, it really hit me last night, because last night we were watching the show and we got a late start because it took a while to put the kids to bed. So both Danny and I were yawning as it was coming to about 11 o'clock at night. And we were exhausted because we wanted to get to bed early because today was the last day of school and we had to get up and get ready to go. Secondly, I had some work emails that I needed to do. But the fact was, I chose to watch the show instead of doing those work emails and pushing that off. Not only that, I had friends that have texted me or responded to me that I needed to respond to, which I kind of haphazardly did, but I really didn't make the good connections because I chose to watch the show. Now, again, don't get me wrong, entertainment is not necessarily a bad thing. And yes, we have to find our things to relax. But the point is of determining what amount of time or what amount of energy I am going to use for a particular amount of time. What is my trade-off going to be there? And so, as we kind of spoke about, where our time is, that shows where our heart is as well. So, here's the drill. The fact is, I think everyone would agree that time is important. And the second part is, everyone knows or kind of clamors and says, man, I wish I had more time. The second thing is time is finite. We have the same number of hours in a day, the same number of hours in a week, the same number of hours in a year that we could spend using our time. And the choice isn't gaining or losing time, it's how we use that. Where are we trading the use of our time versus what could we do for other uses of our time? So, again, here's the drill. What I encourage you to do is to figure out what a good investment of your time is. Figure out what that is so you don't really waste time. And then the second part is make sure that in our trade-offs that we're doing things that we really want to do or are really vital for us or really would help us out, not just in the short term, but in the long term as well. Because wherever we put our time, that's also where we put our heart. This is Bob Pascal with the 2-Minute Motivational Drill, encouraging you to engage in life, to let your light shine, and to be a champ. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.